Hello friends, today I teach you about the human security situation. There is the new chapter on global state of human security, that is human security focus. So my discussion topic today is human security focus. So I welcome to all of you in my YouTube channel, that is Study Center. So let's start the discussion. Human security focus. Human security, then putting people and not only states as the focus of security analysis, is cornerstone of the Canadian foreign policy in the United Nations. And elsewhere, Foreign Affairs Ministers Lloyd Axworthy has brought this dialogue to the world stage on numerous occasions, a hallmark of changing nature of violent conflict and the new generation of transnational human security threats is that increasingly put people at the center of world affairs. Understanding this concept of human security involves seeing the world through different from that used in the decades of the Cold War. The end of the Cold War was hailed as the beginning of an era of peace and prosperity. There was a widespread optimism that with the easing of the grip of the ideological divide, the world community would fear than any time in the past to return attention to global problems such as underdevelopment, poverty, and environment. The reality of the past decades has been more sobering. We have seen a wide range of new security threats emerging. Globalization of clearly has dangerous understanding and instantaneous communication and rapid transportation, increasingly porous and borders, rising business and cultural activity, and academic ties have, for better or worse, ultimately merge all our lives into a common destiny in this world. This security or insecurity of others has become very much our own security or insecurity. As a result, we have both responsibility and is an effort to respond to these new realities. In a stirring speech of both houses of parliament, Czech President Václav Havel noted that declining the role of the state and the notion what takes place within a country borders is nobody else's business. I believe, he said, that in coming century, most states will begin to transform cult-like objects, which are charged with the emotional content, into much simpler and more civil administrative unit, which will be less powerful and especially more rational, and will constitute merely one of the levels in a complex and stratified planetary society. Self-organization. This change, among the other things, should gradually integrate the idea of non-intervention. That is the concept of saying that what happened in another state, or the measure or respect for human rights, there is none of our business. He observed that the responsibilities of the state can go in only two directions, down or up. Downwards to the organs and structure of civil society, or upward to various regional, transnational, or global communities, organization. This transfer, he said, already began. He went to note the obvious implications of this phenomena. The United Nations must undergo to substantial reform if it is perform its task it faces in the new century. It can no longer maintain condition from the period when it was formed. It must become a less bureaucratic or more effective, and must be all inhabitants of the global. In the other words, it must not simply be a club of governments in which one state, through its Security Council veto, can override the will of the rest of the world. The Canadian government shares much Havel's vision, in particular on the need to reform the UN, bring in line with changing the environment, and take a strong stand against the abuse of the veto or the threat of its use that 5 permanent members hold an aim on making Security Council work for more transparent and reasserting the primacy of the Council in peace and security issues. Developments in European foreign security policy have helped the catalytic and emerging European discourse, but the lexicon of terms used, ranging from crisis management and conflict prevention of the civil-military cooperation, is muddled affair that observes rather than clarifies the nature of European foreign policy. Human security is a part of the human development and human rights, but it is the sharp end of the. It is also about feeling of safe and streets or being able to influence of political decisions. Human security policies are concerned with the crisis management, but they go beyond crisis management since they are offer perspective on crisis. Human security is good. Now we respond to urgent physical or mental threat of the individual communities. From a human security perspective, the aim is not just political stability, it also encompasses notion of justice and sustainability. Stability tends to entail absence of the over conflict or economic terms, halting downward spiral GDP of the value of current. In recent years, international community seems to have learned how to stabilize conflict, how to reach sustained peace agreements, and how to stabilize economic financial report of the Commission of Human Security 2007, but it has not been learned to how to address the security of the individual communities and deal with the crime, human rights violations, and joblessness. The balanced crisis management, especially on the civil side, when the European Union does, of course, the emphasis of some of these vulnerabilities, as for example, critical focus on strengthening the rule of law, the language of human security, or further entrench this kind of thinking would help and underline the need to address these vulnerabilities as to reduce the risk of a renewed crisis. Human security capabilities such as crisis management require civil military condition, but it is more than just a matter of coordination or of integration or synergies. To borrow from the current parlance, human security is about how and why civil and military capabilities are combined rather than reflex an action to use them as a part of standard conflict toolkit in a human security operation. The job of the military is to protect and preserve rather than to fight an enemy. Thus, human security is not just about the developing a culture of civil military cooperation, it is about the entirely new way of functioning in the crisis that is best described by the new language of human security. In Arab countries, widespread lack of human security undermines human development. Human security is a prerequisite of the human development. That widespread absence of human security in Arab countries undermine people options. Human security refers not only question of survival but also basic needs of access to clean water and quality of life concern. Human security in the Arab countries is often threatened by just political, social, and economic structure, by competition for power, resources among fragmented social groups, and in some cases by the impact of external military intervention. Arab Human Development Report 2009, the tendency to think the security only in military and state security terms, said Al-Alam Al-Suwa, Director of the UNDP Regional Bureau of the Arab State and UN Assistant Secretary General. But the security of people themselves threatened not just by conflict, by civil unrest, but also by environmental degradation, discrimination, unemployment, poverty, hunger. Only if these resources insecurity address a holistic manner that people of the Arab region are able to make progress in human development. The concept of human security offers a way to reinforce and development policy in the Arab region towards area that will have the greatest impact on human well-being. In effect, a focus on human security is to focus on a broader development agenda that determines whether people are able to live secure lives to achieve their potential. The report makes it clear that pessimical policy approach will not suffer. Employment generation programs, as for example, will not reach their full potential if people do not have the proper nutrition and health care. So friends, this is a discussion. In the next part I will discuss about the human security in Southeast Asia. So if you like my video, like it, share it. Thank you.